So today I'm excited to be here again with Exit Momentum founder and head coach Cullen Talley and one of Exit Momentum's certified business coaches, Jason Ambeau. Jason brings a people-first management style to his coaching. And one of the things that's interesting about that is he picked up company culture long before conversations about company culture became popular. He brings experience in sales management, retail, banking, and finance to his coaching with a proven track record of helping businesses scale and grow. This includes leading groups and managing operations in a variety of C-suite roles, as well as having 15 years of experience in running his own business. Jason has immersed himself in personal coaching and development, and he joined Exit Momentum in 2021, became part of the team. I've had the privilege of having multiple conversations with Jason. I know him just enough to know that today's conversation is going to be one that we're all going to get a lot of value out of and enjoy. So with that, I want to turn this over to Cullen. Cullen, can you talk a little bit about how you got connected with Jason and how he became part of Exit Momentum?
Sure. Thanks, John. And glad to have this conversation for sure. So the origin story would take us a while, so we would need more time than we're going to take today, just because Jason and I have known each other for a long time, both personally, have done deep personal work together and some of the things that we've chosen both to do, and then got connected, as you mentioned, in 2021 on the business side. Specifically around him joining the Exit Momentum team, it was at a point where I was growing the company, and it was really just me and clients and my support staff working with that. And I saw an opportunity to bring in some other styles, some other specialties. And as you know, as we've grown, we've really started to look for key attributes in the folks that join the team that we wind up rounding out our skill set. We're not gonna, I'm not gonna be the person that knows everything. And so Jason brought a particular background and experience that I thought was critically important, as you shared, because he's come from multiple different industries and had success in that, and founded his own company. So he knows what it's like to run a company. It was those things and the marriage of the things he'd been working on with less structure. I mean, still working on some of the same things as far as planning and business coaching, but really didn't have the formula that, we had put together. And so there's just a great marriage of the intentionality that he had, the knowledge that he had, the work ethic that he had, along with his desire to really get results. And then me saying, hey, great, here's a method for us to do this so that you can plug all of that energy into something and likely get results faster for clients. And, he was, listen, let's be frank. There's a lot of coaches out there and a lot of people out there who don't want to have to come step into somebody else's world. His desire was to create a result for clients. So his ego didn't get in the way, neither did mine in terms of having him join. And so that's why this has worked so well over the last several years for myself, for him, and for our clients ultimately.
So Jason, talk a little bit about this from your perspective. What attracted you to Exit Momentum?
Well, as Cullen said, we've got a very long history as friends for several decades. We were friends as much younger gentlemen on much different paths in life. And we've also been together on this personal development journey. I drug Cullen along to a couple of things that I was involved in. He's drugged me along to a couple of things that he's been involved in through the years. And so we've supported each other in that space in a big way. And I started coaching folks a couple of years back, and my focus was originally on just coaching other men in terms of their health and their lifestyle, and just having more fulfilling lives. And in that space, of course, the kind of people that I attracted, people like myself, business owners that had businesses which very quickly morphed into business coaching because they needed help, they had problems. And at my base level, if I'm anything, I solve problems. When people ask me what I do, is I solve problems. And it's just kind of the way that I'm wired. So in my space in coaching those folks, and I think Cullen described this well, I was acting more like a troubleshooter. What's your problem? Let's go attack that. Tell me about it. Tell me the details. Give me the data. What's the circumstances? What have you tried so far? And come up with a game plan to execute, which is effective and a thing we still do inside of Exit Momentum. But what was so attractive about Exit and what Cullen had built from the ground up was there's a system, there's a model, there's a program, there's a very specific way and to do this and to customize this operating system for folks. So what it does to some degree is organize all of those thoughts together, and it highlights or illuminates some of those problems, and then we go attack those problems. But what was super attractive to me was having, obviously, our relationship, my high level of trust with Cullen, and whatever he said, I'm like, sure, of course, let's go. And then secondly was having this system in place that's so easy for folks to digest and execute.
So talk a little bit about your work experience and your resume. What are some of the things you've learned along the way?
Well, it's interesting. I like to tell the story that my very first foray into the sales world was when I decided to dig a hole from my backyard under my house and under the street and under the neighbor's house across the street to his backyard so we could go back and forth to play. Of course, that never happened. We got about 6 feet deep. We had this big pile of dirt, and I had the brilliant idea of bagging it up, putting it in my wagon, and running around the neighborhood trying to sell bags of dirt to people. So I've kind of been in sales ever since then, right? I was super unsuccessful my first go around. I didn't even get like the good try quarter from anybody. I got 0 in sales. But it seems that I was just destined to be in this space, right? To be in this sort of sales space. And very quickly inside of sales, I discovered that what I really loved and what my passion was really about was helping and teaching others, right? So I was the kind of salesperson that was always in the top 10, but never was number 1 for too darn long until I got into management and leadership. And then I was able to be on top all the time because that really is my passion, is teaching and training and guiding and leading. And so my trajectory has been that. I started as a stock boy in my first real career and left that company as a regional manager 11 years later. So literally went from the back room into a leader of 12 to 15 stores across 5 and 6 states. And from then I've been in the mortgage business. I've been in the banking business, vice president for one of the larger banks in the country. I've had my own business. I've worked for smaller retailers and really large retailers. I've worked, in a variety of industries, but it just always came back to the same thing to me. Who matters more than what? And if you have great people, it's easy to get them to do the things that are necessary to get you the results that you need. And that's always been the driving force for me and really what my passion is more than anything.
So Colin, talk a little bit about Jason's experience from your perspective and what he brings to your clients.
It's obviously what we focus on is the first pillar of what we're up to, but I want you to step back and listen to some of the places he's been, right? So you think about being in retail, right? You figure out how you have to manage inventory. You have to manage stores. That store has to be open from this time to this time. It has to be fulfilled. There's things we've got to execute from a merchandising standpoint, from a marketing standpoint. There's seasonality in that, right? So you get this career from literally the back room all the way to running multiple stores across multiple states and managing all the staff, all the chaos of that, and in a business where there's real inventory to manage and margins to manage because of what happens in the promotional world of many retail apparel brands. Second, we step into financial services. So inside of a highly compliant industry, inside of banking, where I've got to manage folks on the phone, we got to manage folks in branches, I got to manage folks selling to existing clients, but do it in a compliant way. So trying to manage, one, the volume of that, but then two, how do we market and sell in a compliant way? Because when you are a big financial institution, there's these organizations that will come slap your hand and give you fines for hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars if you do it incorrectly, right? So looking through that. Then stepping into founding and running these things on his own and really becoming an expert in some things, both financially, tax related, and some of that he hasn't really covered as well, where he's had that experience. So when you think about working with him, you've got somebody who understands what it means to move through a seasonal business, to deal with inventory, to deal with that. You got somebody who understands compliance and how to manage that inside of a large organization, and the ongoing effort to manage the business effectively from a financial perspective, including assets, tax, and everything else related to that with the other business that he founded.
So Jason, take what Colin was just talking about, take the experience that you've talked about, and then tie that into some of the clients that you've worked with as a coach at Exit Momentum. Where do you think you make the biggest contribution?
So I think having the experience across a myriad of industries matters a lot, right? I mean, I was in soft goods and hard goods and the investment world, the banking world, and large and small, and all kinds of varieties of companies that I worked with, right? And that I worked for. And so the lesson that I learned from that is, again, you still come back to the basic nuts and bolts, right? One of the things we hear from clients all the time, and it's invariable when we first start talking to them, is, well, my business is a little different, you see. And they all say that. Every single solitary one of them imagines that their issues and problems and opportunities are unique to them, right? And there are some unique challenges, right? Colin mentioned things like inventory management and taxation and compliance and sometimes, more people, less people, more processes, etc. So there are some differences, some nuances between businesses, and having experience across different industries helps me to understand some of those nuances and also recognize the truth is that business is business. And there are some things that just absolutely have to be there to be successful, regardless of your industry, right? Which is why we're not industrially specific. And oftentimes, I know Cullen gets this same thing. A customer will say, I think we need a coach, in our space. I think we need a coach that is in the investment world. We need a construction specific coach. My answer is always, well, do you need help understanding the construction business? Someone to teach you about construction? Is that what you're missing? Right? Do you need someone to teach you about more mutual funds? Is that what's missing in your investment world? That's never the case. It's how to run the business. So listen, you already know that stuff. You're an expert. You wouldn't be successful in your field in the first place. What you're missing is a system to run your business successfully and efficiently so that you can in fact be amazing at this other thing that you do. So we're not going to help you know more about that thing that you're an expert at. We're going to help you be able to share that in a better way with your internally and externally.
So, Cullen, how does Jason make the Exit Momentum team stronger?
Yes, I mean, clearly you can hear he's a great communicator. So he's able to share concepts with folks that help understand. So he's a teacher in the beginning. So we need to be able to teach. We got to coach. We got to facilitate. There's different skills that we have, but he teaches concepts incredibly well, especially to folks that maybe that haven't been exposed to these things before. So there's not this where they feel uncomfortable or they're not in the right room. And that's a reality of what we have to deal with in our business. Number one. Number two, he's clear about getting commitments. He's going to get the teams that he works with to make clear commitments of what they are going to do, what they're not going to do, what's going to be waited on, and he's going to check in on that. He's going to help document that in a clean and concise way so that they have you. So I've watched what he does when he facilitates in there. So that those are critical. He also has a great time in session. So if you want to get with somebody where it's like, listen, we're going to do some hard work, we're going to have some tough conversations, but we are going to laugh as well. You're going to have that with Jason. So to me, it's like you've got this passion around people. You've got real experience across multiple industries, right, over several decades, right? So not his first rodeo. He's very good at teaching. He's going to facilitate well. He's going to help you get clear, and you're going to have a good time. I'm not sure you could ask for much more than that.
So, Jason, speaking about having a good time, what do you do outside of coaching? What does life look like on the personal side?
I'm fortunate enough to have 4 great kids in a long-term relationship. So Julie and I have been together for almost 18 years now, which is fantastic. We have 1 son together. That's an amazing young man of 14. I've got 2 beautiful daughters, one who graduated as a cheerleader from LSU, one who's still at LSU, and then my oldest son, who's a special operations veteran of the Army, and now focuses all of his time and effort into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he's gifted me with 2 gorgeous grandchildren. So they are amazing. Other than that, I guess you could call me an ancient athlete. I'm going to be 60 this year, but I'm still dedicated to having some athletic pursuits that don't hurt me too badly. So I'm a Krav Maga practitioner, which is the Israeli MMA, a mixed martial arts regimen in that space, and just love the discipline and the fitness that comes along with that. Cole and I actually train together at a gym that we both belong to as well. I like to play golf, and I'm a sports fan. So I can't play every sport anymore, but I still like to watch the best of the best do it. So
fantastic. Cullen, I'm going to give you the last spot here. What about Jason have we not talked about? What do you want people to know that we haven't hit on yet?
Well, I think it's important to recognize that Jason joined our team when things were not as clear as they are now. So what that says to me is he can step into your team when things aren't as clear as you'd like them to be. He's been able to navigate that in his career. He's also helped us navigate that as well, as we've figured out who we were going to be when it wasn't just the Cullen show anymore. And I think that's a critical point for us. To me, the reality is Jason is going to be just as committed to your business as you are. And you're going to feel that and experience it. It's going to be an accelerant for you. And I want you to recognize what that could feel like to actually be in your business and have somebody come alongside you to say to you, yes, you are on the right track. Keep going. Or hold on a second. Let's stop. Let's take a look. Are you sure this is what you want? And so you're going to have that kind of counsel, that kind of person coming up next to you, developing your team, developing you. And quite frankly, he's going to get his hands dirty, his elbows dirty, all the way up to his shoulders. I called him a couple weeks ago. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I've been in this warehouse for 9 hours. We're figuring out some processes. I'm like, when did we turn into that? He's like, well, listen, we've been trying to solve it, and this was the way to do it, which is literally how he comes at things. I'm not promising he's going to be in your warehouse for 9 hours. What I'm telling you is you're going to get that kind of commitment in your business, whether it's sales training, whether it's operational processes, whether it's marketing messaging. He understands these things. And so you're going to get that level of depth of commitment, which quite frankly, in our industry, there's a lot of surface level BS coaches. This is not what Jason is. So you would be in very special company to have him come alongside you in your business to help you create what you want, because he will show you a path, and he is as committed to it as you are. I promise you.
That's really interesting. If I could just add to what Cullen said, because I think one of the real gifts that we have at Exit Period is that we are totally and completely comfortable inside of chaos. right? Where we enter often is a company that is successful, but that is chaotic. They're having chronic issues that cause chaos in their business. And as a team, we are all super comfortable walking into that chaos, being that calming, sort of soothing presence, extracting the lessons that need to be learned, and then helping them apply to those to lessen that chaos, which enables them, gives them some capacity back to focus on what's most important because they're not fighting those chaotic battles. And I think we're all really good at walking into that chaos and being that calming effect and sort of helping them take a big, deep breath and refocus.
Where you just landed that is amazing. Calm in the chaos. We're going to help you add some capacity, and we're going to bring a level of commitment that you don't get anywhere else. People who have worked with you, Jason, they're clearly going to have stories about what that commitment looks like in their business. If you haven't worked with Jason, this is your opportunity to find out what commitment really looks like. Because like Colin said, there's a lot of coaches out there. They're not all good. This is one of the good ones. So thank you both for this conversation today. I'm excited for people to meet you, Jason, and get to know you. And I appreciate both of you and your time today.
Thank you.